For the second consecutive year, the season-ending Sony Ericsson Championships were once again held in the Qatari capital, Doha. Located on the Persian Gulf, Doha is one of the fastest developing cities in the world and boasts a number of eye-catching buildings. One of the most recent of these is the city's Museum of Islamic Art, which opened at the end of last year. And it was this iconic structure where the 2009 Sony Ericsson Championships kicked off, with a lavish draw ceremony that saw the top 8 players in the world dress up for the cameras before discovering who they would face in the round-robin stage of the competition. The 8 players were split into 2 groups, the maroon group comprising of the Williams sisters and the Russian duo Yelena Dementьeva and Svetlana Kuznetsova, and the white group made up of Dinara Safina, Yelena Yankovic and the 2 debutantes Caroline Wozniacki and Victoria Azarenka. Each member of the group would play each other once, with the top 2 progressing to the semi-finals at the Khalifa International Tennis Complex. Serena Williams arrived in Doha knowing that if she did better than current world number 1 Dinara Safina this week, she would end the year as the top-ranked player for the first time since 2002. And the American got off to the perfect start, overcoming French Open champion Svetlana Kuznetsova 7-5, 7-6 to get her campaign rolling. The world number 2's next match was against her older sister Venus, who'd lost her opening match against Yelena Dementьeva. In the 4th meeting between the 2 this season, it was Venus who made the better start and took the opening set. But then Serena came storming back to level things up at 1-all, before sealing the match on a 3rd set tiebreak, securing her 3rd victory over her sister this season. And Serena kept up her perfect record with a comfortable 6-2, 6-4 win over Russia's Yelena Dementьeva to finish top of the group and guarantee her spot in the semi-finals. Second place in the group came down to the final match, after Venus kept her hopes alive by beating Svetlana Kuznetsova in a hard-fought 3-set encounter. The Russian's 2 losses meant that she could not progress further in the tournament. However, if she beat her compatriot Dementьeva, she would hand Venus a spot in the last 4. The 5th seed's fate was in her own hands, and the pressure of knowing this seemed to get to her as she struggled for form in the opening set. And her woes continued in the second, Kuznetsova winning 6-3, 6-2 in under an hour and a half to hand Venus a place in the semi-finals at the expense of Dementьeva. There was, however, some good news for the Russian, as she picked up the Diamond Aces Award, which is given annually to the player who consistently goes above and beyond to help promote the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour. In the white group, Dinara Safina's quest to finish the year as world number 1 came to a dramatic end, as she was forced to retire with a back injury 12 minutes into her match against Yelena Yankovic, handing the Serb victory and guaranteeing that Serena Williams will finish the year at the top of the world rankings. And that win kept Yankovic's hopes alive, after she had previously lost her opening match against Victoria Azarenka. The 20-year-old Belarusian's second match was against the other tournament debutante Caroline Wozniacki. The Dane came into the tournament with a hamstring injury and looked out of sorts as she lost the opening set 6-1. But the US Open runner-up regrouped and fought her way back into the match to force a decider. And there, Azarenka's temperament got the better of her. Having been broken when serving for the match, the 6th seed lost her cool. 2 code violations giving Wozniacki the momentum and eventually the match. Next up for Wozniacki was Vera Zvonareva, stepping in for the injured Safina. And this match turned into a thriller. The Russian clawed her way back from the jaws of defeat to force a deciding set. And there, Wozniacki's body started to fail her. Collapsing to the floor with cramp, the Dane looked unable to continue. But somehow she found a way to fight on and secure a dramatic 6-love, 6-7, 6-4 victory.
6-4.
After extensive treatment, Wozniacki was back on court the following day, but she was far from her best, as she struggled to a 2-6, 2-6 loss against Yelena Yankovic, the Serb's second victory putting her into the semi-finals. The other semi-final spot from the white group was decided by the final match of the round robins. Victoria Azarenka needed to win against Agnieszka Radwanska, who was deputizing for the now injured Zvonareva, otherwise Wozniacki would go through. And Azarenka made the perfect start, racing through the opening set and into a 5-2 lead in the second. But the 6th seed wasn't able to close out the match as the pole hit back to force a decider. And that was the end for Azarenka, as a long, hard season began to take its toll, and she was forced to retire from the match due to an injury, handing victory to Radwanska and the last semi-final place to Wozniacki. The first semi-final saw Venus Williams take on Jelena Jankovic, exactly as it did 12 months ago. On that occasion, Williams proved victorious, but this looked like being a different story, as the American struggled with her movement early on. But at a set and a breakdown, Williams rallied, finding her range to power her way back into the match. And after just over 2.5 hours on court, it was the Americans' trademark aggression that won through. Williams winning 5-7, 6-3, 6-4 to advance to the final of the Sony Ericsson Championships. The second semi-final proved to be one match too many for Caroline Wozniacki. Having lost the opening set to Serena Williams 6-4, the Dane was forced to retire one game into the second set due to a stomach injury. With the season over for all but the Williams sisters, Saturday night saw the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour year-end party, a chance for the players to relax and let their hair down after a long and arduous season. The final was the 23rd career meeting between the Williams sisters, but their first in the final of the Tour Championships. Serena leads the head-to-head over her elder sister by 2 matches, and quickly set about extending that as she raced through the opening set 6-2. The second set proved to be a much tighter affair, with Venus pushing her sister all the way to a tiebreak. But just shy of the hour-and-a-half mark, Serena sealed the match in the breaker. Her 6-2, 7-6 victory, seeing her win the Sony Ericsson Championship for the second time and cap a perfect week that saw her remain undefeated and return to the top of the world rankings.